this unboxing short and sweet because I gotta go to the gym and then I'll be back later on. I'm gonna go live again, probably to go through my tackle box and weed out all the stuff so far that I maybe have used, whether it be the beginning and into this season or last season or whenever, and it's time to thin out the herd. So I got some stuff to unbox here real quick, and we'll talk briefly about what's going to go down tonight a little more, but tonight's the best night for me to do it this week. And if I keep waiting around, it's costing me, I feel, fishing time on the water trying to look for stuff. I got so much crap some of you call tackle. I call tackle until it becomes so much that, like, I actually have, here's for an example. If you guys, the stuff I've been buying here lately, kind of for me, but also for you guys too. So here's a perfect example. I've been fishing now with these swim bait so-called deals, right, for a little while now. And because I just kind of glazed over them, I guess, I've still yet to throw that bait or these two little Strike King like ones, if you guys remember right. Just because I have so much stuff everywhere that I've got like 3 or 4 different swim bait boxes and all that kind of stuff, so it's time to thin down. So be looking forward to that. But yeah, no, I'm not getting rid of those yet. I'm gonna at least cast them once. But I don't know if it's gonna be $1, $2, $3 per lure. But I'm gonna weed out my tackle box and sell off a lot of stuff. Either if Charles, if he don't want it, maybe offer it to you guys. Hopefully somebody locally, so I don't have to mess with shipping. But anyway, I'm talking probably $200 to $300 worth of stuff at only being $1 or $2 a bait. And so yeah, my square bills, all that kind of stuff and a lot of rattle traps that I don't want or need. And they all work. If you guys don't know by now, like most of the stuff I end up selling, it will catch fish. It's just I've got so much. I'm not a collector. I'm not a hoarder of tackle. I like to just keep what all will fit in my boat is what I own and while I'm using it, kind of stuff. I hate the thought of having something like, oh, it's back at the house and I need it. Like, if I need it, I want to get it and I want to have it on the boat. If I don't need it, I don't want it. So, line. Now, here's something that none of you guys, not even Charles, I have yet to hear one subscriber go off of, not this, but the P-Line Original. So that's why I have, these are my old lines here, and I don't even know when I actually bought these spools, and I got some good and bad. I need to tell you also about this line. You got to be careful. I'm horrible about keeping my line maintained, as you can tell. Do not get this anywhere outside into the sun or elements like I did with this. I'm going to have to go try to wash some of that out. But if you get any gunk on this, or any line for that matter, it sets out, the sun can deteriorate it, or you get any kind of debris and it just sets and it will weaken your line. You know, all honesty, you want to keep it in a sealed deal that's not getting too hot, really. So from AliExpress, and I'm still going with this line. I don't know 100% if it's the same exact stuff as Hercules from AliExpress, but to me, I think it's the same, and it's always a little cheaper than Hercules, even though Hercules is cheap. So I've just been going with this, and so far I've not been let down. Bassmaster. What's a good budget BFS rod for bass and trout fishing? Must be new to the show because you guys can answer that one, I'm sure. Ace Hawk, CU double. Boom, done. Ultralight and light. So we picked up 8 strand 40 pound and 20 pound line. So it looks like they give you way more 20 than 40. There's roughly the same price. I want to say it was like $8 and something for, I only got 300 meters of the 40 because I'm only going to run this on, well, whatever reel, which is the Steez HLC on our Tequila back rack for swim bait. So 40 pound, gonna try it. But then I got more 20. I had ran out of 20. I kind of went away from 15. I'm just running 20 pound to either 15 or probably going to be now a 20 pound leader. But the Proberos, this is very affordable line. It is not cheap made line. Like I've yet to have this line fail me. And I'm going to also talk about this in this video. and watch it come back and bite me. You guys will be watching me out fishing and start complaining about my line just breaking. Now, I will tell you this, with any brand you buy, there is a possibility. It's usually a slim chance nowadays. It used to be a lot more, I guess, possible that in the past, you can get a bad spool, a bad batch. Like, there's times that there's been known companies that, like, something went wrong in the process and their line was breaking. And usually nowadays on forums or something, like, it'll pop up. But so far, to date, this line from Proberos and P-Line Original, I've not had any breaking issues that I feel wasn't my fault. Braid, when you're dealing with the braid to a leader and you make a cast with the, say, depends on your weight of the bait per the thickness of the line. If you backlash and your drag's taken out of the equation and it's a shorter, you know, I've had some of this line snapping, but really not this. I had a problem with that Gavacont or whatever. I will no longer be buying that. If you guys see that on AliExpress, Gavacont or whatever it is, a lot of it looks similar to this, but it is, in my opinion, it's different. If you remember the last camo I bought, it came like a fluorescent color, and that line was junk. 15-pound test. So I've got one more thing to unbox, and like I said, be looking forward to tonight. I'll go into more detail. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. I'll answer them now or later on. I'm trying to think if somebody asked a question earlier this week. I try to answer them when I do a live stream if I can remember them. So all the way from wherever Tackle Warehouse is that took forever to get here. And I hate to knock Tackle Warehouse, but because it honestly they used to just be so good back in the day is why I knock them now. I felt, and I've talked about it before, if you order from Tackle Warehouse in the past, when they were first coming out trying to make a name for themselves, I guess, I could order it on a Sunday night or Monday, and I would have it before the next weekend. It was like awesome. It was, you know, good as having a store like a Bass Pro I've got like just down the road here. You know, if they had it, I had it for the next weekend of fishing kind of thing, which was a cool deal. Now it's not. You're going to have it for not the coming weekend, but then a weekend after that. That's just all there is to it. If you realize you messed up on a Saturday or Sunday, lost your last something, or out of something, you're probably not going to have it for the next week coming from Tackle Warehouse unless you want to pay. And one other good thing, anything over $50, you got free shipping. But so they're still like good. They carry a lot of stuff, but they're just not what they used to be. And you know, they're no Amazon, that's for sure. I hate to say it, but you can get stuff from Amazon, and like I've literally seen something ordered, no extra pay for the shipping to be faster, and have it come the next day, like unbelievably fast. Like how did they, like was it down the street? How did it get there that fast? As you guys know, AliExpress, nowhere near like that. We ordered this a few weeks ago. Now, still pretty fast. It came pretty quick. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't even remember exactly how long ago I said I was ordering 20 and 40 pound. I ordered it just a couple weeks ago, so it hadn't been long. And I saw I waited, and then I ordered this when I figured they show up at the same time. This showed up like a day or two ago, and I was just waiting for this to show up. So we have an order from Tackle Warehouse, and we're going to talk about the line, then we're going to talk about the baits, because I have yet to throw one of these baits I bought. So we're trying two different types of sizes of line. I don't think I've ever bought 20 for 30 for sure. I've never bought 30-pound P-line. I don't think I've ever dealt with 20. I've always went with 15. If you guys saw some of the last couple videos, 15-pound. Before it gets, you know, as long as the knot's tied good and before it gets any kind of wear on it, is actually hard to break. But, and I'm going to compare the line size just by eyeballing it here in a minute. When I looked over the years, I've just always went 50. I'm like 15. I kind of went from 12 to 15. I'm like, I'll just go to 15 to like reassure myself if it gets a little nick in it, I'm still good. So I've always just stuck to that for years. But then I was looking at the line size on their little chart, and I'm like, well, you know what? It shows 20 is not that much thicker than 15. So it's a possibility if I'm like, oh, that's too far, whatever, I may go back to 15. I still have quite a bit of 15 to, I just do liters, so that's what I bought. 620 yards of 20 pound for leader material. That should last maybe forever. And then I bought 400 yards of the 30, and that's the only way you can get it nowadays. P-Line Original. I've only found it at Tackle Warehouse, but somebody recommended this off a forum years back, and I used it as a regular line. Then once I went to all, braid the leader on everything. It's a copolymer, so I've never really actually cut any and let it float or sink or see what it does in water, but it doesn't really float, but it doesn't really sink as fast as fluorocarbon. So if you're definitely the guy that kind of wants the versatility in your rod and reel combos, in my opinion, this is better than fluoro or mono for that factor, just that copolymer. And I've so far not had any issues with this line. Like I said, though, I start talking about it too much, it'll come back and bite me, and I'll have nothing but problems. If I have problems with breaking them 20 and 30 now, it should be an issue. So I'm going to go and try 40-pound braid to a 30-pound leader for our bigger swim bait stuff on the tequila back rack, or may throw chatterbaits or who knows what, or bigger jigs if I'm throwing around a bunch of nasty stuff, and I'm like, I just want some more security. If it gets dinged up, it's still going to have a lot of pulling power, even having a small fray or something. Should be crazy, right? So then I figure I'll go 20 to 20 and try it. I've been going 20 to the 15 just because the size difference between 20 and 15 in the Proberos also shows like wasn't that much of a deal. And if you guys don't know, if you've never tried braid, in all honesty, other than throwing small baits, like not BFS stuff, but say just regular bass fishing, it's kind of the opposite of, you kind of want to go the smallest line possible because it's easier to cast with the bait caster. Well, with braid, it honestly can be almost the other way. It's easier to manage and work with a little thicker braid than if you're trying to throw, 10-pound braid can almost get to the point where it could be harder to see, to tie knots and just different stuff, to where you might be better off to run 15-pound braid to a 10-pound leader. That's where you're ultimately, if you run a 6-foot leader, that's what the fish could or could not see possibility. Your main leader line or main line isn't really the determining factor, it's your leader. So if you can get away with running a little thicker, this line sometimes, as long as your spool holds enough, if you're dealing with, like we are with some of our spools are shallow spools, or especially with BFS, then you may want to go to a 6 or a 10 or whatever, stick with that. But in regular conventional bass fishing gear, you may want a real deep spool to just buy 40-pound braid to 60 or whatever. Like that's why a lot of guys I think use it for frog. They use thicker lines, just a little more manageable, and doesn't really affect their overall casting distance. That's the only thing, the downside, that once you go to thicker braid, it could affect your overall casting distance with smaller baits. But so we're going to go 20 and 20 on most of our gear. We're going to go 10 and 10 on, that's another thing, if you guys are familiar with the channel, the X-Pride 610 medium is going to be getting, right now it's got 15 everything. It's going to be getting, going from, it's either got 15 or 20, I can't remember, to a 15-pound leader. It's going back to 10-pound test for like jerkbait, small cranks, all that kind of stuff, more finessey stuff. And I'm also going to probably take one of our medium wizard rod and rig a reel up on it with 10-pound test. Those will be our two like smallest end of the bait casting spectrum, just before BFS type stuff, and they'll probably take over a lot of the BFS type duties with the 10-pound, because most of the stuff I throw can be thrown with them. I don't really need the BFS gear when I'm out in a boat doing regular type fishing, unless I want to go full on BFS. Everything else will be getting the 20 and 20, and then our swim bait will be getting this 40 to a 30. And that's gonna, it all could change once I get out on the water and start using it and go, oh no, that sucks, or yeah, I like that, or whatever. So let's jump to this. So at some point I kind of started, but we haven't really got on any kind of real good Whopper Plopper bite or Chapo bite, because I bought a Chapo and I was going to just put it head to head with this guy, and I thought, well, and I still might, but I thought I would try to see if I could find something comes closer, and as I ordered this, it's nowhere near close. But Tackle Warehouse has their colored, like bluegill colored, and this one looks real good, but it may be, and this is just the Whopper Plopper 130. The Chapo's a 120, that's a 130, this is a 130. So this makes the only Whopper Plopper in this size other than this one right here that I bought. I bought the smaller ones, but that color, I think that, finally a bait that just has a little orange on it, not along the whole bottom. So I bought another Whopper Plopper, and I'm not sure which one. Honestly, none of these colors are exactly close to that bait. But we're going to, at some point, be doing a little Chapo Whopper Plopper challenge thing. They claim that the way this one's made, and if you look at them, the biggest difference would be that this one has more of a belly to it. This is more of just a round torpedo-like shape. This has kind of a belly to it, and then you have the blade on the back, right? This one is a little more cupped. You can clearly see this one's, see how it's got a little more of a cup bent around. In all honesty, you can finagle these to change them up a hair if you want to. Some of the smaller ones I've had, I've accidentally put them in the box weird, and they kind of go back to shape. Usually you get them out, let them set in the sun a little bit, they kind of go back. But you could change that if you wanted a different sound. But the Chapo comes like that. A lot of guys claim it has a more of a deeper or whatever sound, but in my opinion, in all honesty, so far, anything testing I've done, and what I'm thinking is there's not going to be a huge difference. But in honor of our swim bait game, I couldn't leave well enough alone. Now, somebody kept recommending another bait. I can't even remember the name of it now, but it was crazy expensive, $34 topwater bait. So I bought a bait that I honestly, when they first came out, I never thought I'd ever buy in my life. I'm like, there is no way I will buy that, because this thing will get hit by big ones around here and little dings. I mean, everything will hit this size Whopper Plopper. I've caught several, I don't know how many 5-pound bass on this. What I feel is about the biggest in our bodies of water will hit that if you get it by them. But in honor of our swim baiting, I bought the 190 millimeter Whopper Plopper, Whopper Plopper 190. In this color, because this color, a specific reason, because of Charles and his little Whopper Plopper 90. When there's a Whopper Plopper bite going, it seems like that color in that little 90 is the best. So we're going to maybe do a little shootout against Charles with his little 90 versus our... I was going to buy a 90. I'm like, nah, I've got enough 90s already in different colors for the moment. I've got a little knockoff one. Oh my God, the hook, Jesus. You do not want to get one of these hooks in you, I can tell you that. And I'm about ready to get one in me. Hang on. So... I can't get out of the box. Oh. Jeez. Hang on. We'll take a look at this sucker. 190F. That thing just feels like a monster. So look at this. This is a big... when they first came out, to me, this was a big bait. Whopper Plopper 130. Looks like a little play toy compared to this 190. So we're going to get this out on the water and throw it with our tequila back rack for sure. Crazy bait. Does it say the weight of it? Yeah, it'll tell you. So yeah, there you have length 7.5 inches, 109 3 ounces or 85 grams. So 3 ounce bait, tequila back rack should throw that no problemo. In what is kind of our favorite color. Yeah, that should be game on. Now, it will not fit in my topwater box. It's going to go in the swim bait box. It'll get thrown when I'm throwing like early morning, probably before the big swim baits. I'll throw that. But here's also a little AliExpress knockoff in the same, roughly the same color. So I already have this one. I should have bought a Whopper Plopper 90 maybe also. This is a 70. It's shorter, but it's bigger round. It's actually heavier. And it tends to get the job done when there's a smaller Whopper Plopper bite going. So you can get the knockoffs, you can get the Chapos, you can get the... Everybody and their brothers kind of copied the original Whopper Plopper. And this is one of the original ones. Still made the same today. They've got the If you guys don't know, this is the biggest. I don't think you can get anything bigger than this in the Whopper Plopper. You can get a Top Raider or something they call it. Some guy's name, Top Raider's like $34. I think it was originally made more for pike. I think this was originally made for pike. Larry Dahlberg. I watched the whole thing when he was doing the hunt for big fish and was kind of designing this bait. He makes a lot of his own baits, and then River to Seas and him hooked up, made the Whopper Plopper years back, and it's been an awesome bait. Jesus, look at those hooks. I would think that you could get by with a little smaller hook. I would think you could put these hooks on it.
I'm almost out of them.
And be good. But anyway, so we're going to be throwing those, the original big size. I'm going to tell you guys about the sizes, but while we've got something showing us the thing. So that's what I've been throwing. 1 3/8 of an ounce, 39 grams. I've thrown this on the Teton 661. I wouldn't recommend Charles to throw it on the 2-piece. Not this one, this one. I've thrown the biggest one that I had owned, 1 3/8 of an ounce on that. So you could probably get by, you know, you couldn't rear back and do like a whip cast kind of thing, but you could probably get the Whopper Plopper, even though it's like a crazy heavy one, the big one, on some of your guys' flipping type stuff. 3 ounces. If you don't rear back, you know, just kind of lob it out there, and you need something definitely at least flipping, pitching status to even think about getting those hook sets. You know, hard hook set, no matter treble or not. Those are gigantic hooks. I think the Tequila Baccarat is perfectly made for this. We'll find out. Will it get hit? Won't it get hit? What will it do? So we've just improved a little bit maybe, or did we backtrack from our Topwater game? And here's another example. There's a Topwater bait I've yet to even throw yet. It came from AliExpress. That's a copy of the Jackal bait or whatever. I haven't even opened it to throw it yet. Still, probably to this date, and I stopped talking about this one because I couldn't find that color anymore off AliExpress. These two Topwater little poppers are probably still, if I had to go out and, like you told me I had to catch a Topwater fish, that's Mega Bass Pop X, and then that's that one from AliExpress. You can still get this popper from AliExpress. I cannot find that color anymore. That size little popper compared to like a 70 Whopper Plopper, they're kind of like money. Here in the last couple years, I kind of felt luckier with these than I did a true Pop Max, but the Pop Max is also a good popper. But yeah, I got to get this guy out and at least try him. And then I've got a whole slew of these other little poppers. I hardly ever even throw any of these guys anymore. There's a couple Pop X's, a couple cheap one from Ali. There's actually the cheap, a pretty good one from eBay. It came in a pack of like 4 or 5. That one right there, though, definitely that color works good. And of course I got a little baby Pop X, even smaller, more of true almost BFS type stuff that I can throw it. What most of my regular, like the Stees with the shallow spools, they can throw that bait. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be coming back tonight. What's up, Jay? Checking in from Islamorada, Florida. So I'm going to be back with probably be going through and weeding out a lot of my baits, but be looking forward to that video. I may just do it and then show you guys the aftermath of all the baits and that kind of stuff, because I will be trying to sell them off at some point. Or I may just pop out each individual box like I'm doing right here kind of thing and go, all right, I don't want that one anymore, I don't want that one anymore, you know, I don't want this, I don't want that. That thing I'm not a big fan any of these baits really. Just a true like walking topwater bait. I haven't even tried, I don't think I've tried that hard knock in that oyster color. But I'll be honest, I may weed those out down to just one, keep that one if I feel I want to get on a try them anyway. So many baits, right? And yes, I've already got a few swim baits I'm probably going to weed out. Charles bought some swim baits from me. If you guys haven't I don't think we've even talked about that. It hasn't popped up in a video yet. The video where you watch Charles with peanut butter and jelly, and then the video that dropped. Oh wait, that video drops tomorrow. You'll see the other bait, so be looking forward to that video. And I'll talk more about that in tonight's video, but live stream. If you were wondering, that wasn't the only fish we caught that day. That was like the only peanut butter and jelly fish, and that peanut butter and jelly zinkers was definitely the main bait. And I caught a few others on peanut butter and jelly jig, basically. But then we found some other baits that sort of worked, but I'll talk more about that. But none of them were really on a true bite, other than we did get on a little like a square bill bite in that oyster color. So I'm going to end this video. Like I said, stay tuned. Be listening or watching for tonight's video. I'll come back sometime after the gym. I'm going to get this stuff put up. They're calling for rain. As of right now, rain all weekend long. Saturday we might have a window until like 11 a.m. and then it just shows in my forecast anyway, just scattered thunderstorms from then on throughout all of Sunday. All of Saturday, the rest of the daylight. All of Sunday, the rest of the daylight. So we'll have to see. I'm going to definitely get out and fish. Sometimes those are the best days. You just go in between. You may be sitting on the bank, sitting in your truck, waiting on a thunderstorm to pass or something, and jump out and fish for a while. Sometimes that could be the best time to be out on the water fishing. You can go back and watch a video. Me and Emily were out fishing, and one of my Whopper Plopper catches happened on a day just like that. If you'd went by the weatherman and what it looked like outside, we shouldn't have probably even went fishing, but we got out there, had the bimini top up. When it was like it was kind of safe to fish, you were just going to it was kind of wet and damp, and got on a couple. Caught one big nice one on this, and then one on a Zinker's worm in the copper truce color on that day, and caught several other fish, but two giants on that day that otherwise would have probably been not out fishing. So hopefully that this weekend ends up being something similar to that. I hope it just gets overcast and we can go out and fish all day long on Saturday and do the same or similar on Sunday. But yeah, these hooks are like crazy menacing. I think that is intended for bigger fish and pike. I think I should track down hooks that are closer, because I consider that almost a gaff of a hook. And just, put smaller hooks on, especially if I want to go on any kind of slower, less minute. I don't know. I think even a half-blind, one-eyed bass could spot those treble hooks and go, nope, that ain't it. You didn't want it, boys. You don't want it. Don't hit it. Those are huge. Look at how big just that hook is. Just for comparison, I guess. There is a Whopper Plopper 90, and there's the hook. Jeez. That hook is a monster. And there's two of them. They're definitely sharp. Still haven't really had much luck. I probably need to scrape a little more. That little knockoff one from Rogers, it's a copy of the 90. I haven't really been impressed with that one, but I haven't used it much. I still think on the 90 size, other than that crazy this color, I think the next ones are just that almost translucent with a touch of either, another color on it. But anyway, who knows? I may weed out all of those and just order another one of these in this color and something like that. All right, gotta go, guys. Yeah, that's what I think. This Magnum, this thing is like intended for like bigger, toothy fish, pike, and all those other bigger ones. I'll look, see what I got. I don't think you would lose any hookups by going to, maybe you would by going to that size. At least maybe switch out the back one to something like that, and the front one to something smaller. I don't know. I'll look into it, see what I want to do. I thought this would be a good color, but I've thrown it a little bit, and I don't think I've got a hit on it yet. I don't think I've caught a fish on it yet. Didn't have any scuffs on it yet. I like the paint. I like that color, Chapo. I like this one, I think, a little better. But we'll end up at some point throwing maybe all three together and just seeing, like, you know, does one stand out over the other, which I don't think they are. I don't think a Whopper Plopper is that much greater than this. I don't think this is that much greater than the Whopper Plopper. I think they're all roughly going to be the same. It'd be interesting to see, like, can this one get hit, or can these get hit and then this one won't get hit at all, kind of deal. So when I'm out there doing videos, I'll probably be trying a bunch of these different ones at all, whether I'm with Charles or not. Maybe put this one against, you know, size difference, like which one, how many hits do you lose when you're throwing a big old bait that you could be catching if you're throwing this? Because that dude, believe it or not, will catch pretty big fish. That's not a super small bait. That's, well, they call it a 70 millimeter or whatever, but that's a nice little chunk of something that they think they can eat, that a decent sized bass will hit that. And a little dink will hit this, and a very big fish will hit that. So be curious to see how small a fish will hit this thing. I know I've caught some that are barely any longer than this on this bait. So pound, 2 pound, 4 pound. A little dink that's only as long as it, possibility on this big thing. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. I'll be back. So get out, hit the gym, hit the water, whatever you hit, make sure you have fun doing it. Well, don't hit people. That'd be bad.